Business Now with Stephen, and we're starting in Nice. The tourist industry really assessing the impact of last Thursday's attack.
Nice is the second most popular destination in France for tourists after Paris, and July and August count for more than half of the region's earnings from tourism. Hotel owners in the city say they're already seeing cancellations and visitors leaving after the attack. This as France's tourist industry is still suffering the effects of last year's attacks in Paris. Clément Bonnereau reports.
The Hotel Negresco is a symbol of Nice's tourism industry. Located on the famous Promenade des Anglais, the palatial hotel survived 2 world wars. But now, in the wake of the deadly attack on Bastille Day, the Negresco is facing a wave of last-minute cancellations. This €2,800 night suite was booked by an American couple months ago. They were too scared to come.
They cancelled their booking at the last minute yesterday. We're in July, and yet most of our rooms are empty.
Nice is the second most visited city in France. The tourism sector is worth €1.5 billion and represents 40% of local GDP. 40% of jobs also depend on tourism. Hotel and restaurant owners say they're worried tourists won't return for at least a few weeks.
It's a bit calmer now. After this kind of event, a lot of people go away. Others want to stay. For now, it's quiet. It will probably take a few weeks for the city to get back to normal.
The attack in Nice is another blow to France's tourism industry. In the wake of the attacks in Paris last November, tourist arrivals fell by 11% in the French capital. This despite a slight recovery in June with the Euro 2016 tournament. The government aims to attract 100 million visitors annually by 2020, but experts say foreigners may start seeing France as a risky country.
Now, another story for you related to Turkey. This is about its currency. Seeing a bit of recovery today, Stephen, after falling very, very sharply on Friday.
In fact, it was the biggest one-day fall the currency's seen since 2008 on Friday after that attempted coup in the country. After falling by nearly 5% against the dollar on Friday, we are seeing somewhat of a rebound on the lira today. It's up by almost 3% in trading.
Now some news of a big deal in the technology industry.
Japan's Softbank is buying the iPhone chipmaker ARM Holdings in a deal worth more than £24 billion or €29 billion. It's the largest ever takeover of a European technology company. ARM is based in Cambridge in England and employs more than 4,000 people. Softbank says ARM will keep its headquarters in the UK after the sale has gone through. The deal became a lot cheaper for the Japanese telecoms firm since the UK voted to leave the EU, as sterling has fallen by some 30% against the Japanese yen.
Stock markets then, Stephen, how are they looking?
ARM Holdings shares up 45% at the open today, so some good news there for investors in that company. But overall, London's FTSE 100 opening down slightly, and we're seeing things pretty flat in Paris and in Frankfurt as well. In Asia today, it was a largely similar picture, generally flat across the market. Some falls in Shanghai, but gains in on the Hang Seng in Hong Kong and on the Kospi in Seoul. Markets closed in Japan, though. It's Marine Day there. Some more of the day's business headlines for you now. Volkswagen has pledged to compensate hundreds of dealers in the United States over the emissions cheating scandal. The money would go to those car sellers who'd suffered economic damage as a result of the controversy. The car maker has been meeting dealers around the country to inform them how a $15 billion legal settlement to fix the affected cars would be implemented. Property prices in China rose by more than 7% in June compared to last year. Monthly figures for new residential homes found prices rose in 57 of 70 major Chinese cities last month. The steepest increases were seen in Shanghai, where prices rose by an average of almost 28%. And new research has shown that workers under 35 in the UK are earning significantly less than their elders. The Resolution Foundation study found that younger workers earned around €9,500 less in their 20s than so-called Generation X. Calculated over a lifetime, it'll make millennials the first generation who'll earn less than their predecessors.
And finally from Stephen, you'll be glad to know there is an unlimited number of stories that can be brought to you about Pokémon Go. So here's another one. It's about players finding innovative ways to make money.
Yes, we had been talking about how Nintendo had massively cashed in on its mobile game success. Its court hit the top of the download charts very quickly after launching, but now it's popping up on the likes of eBay as well, as experienced players are choosing to sell their accounts for hundreds of dollars to those who are just joining the game. So we've seen some of those go up to some $200 there, as we're just looking at that one on eBay. So the idea is that if you're just starting on Pokemon Go, you can skip ahead really by buying the account of somebody who has advanced a little bit further on, just proving that some people will pay money for anything.
You can cheat, in other words.
Essentially, yes.